All right. Well, everybody, welcome. I'm Dr. Adam Mathews, and we are talking with one of our newest therapists, Duncan Bordeaux. And Duncan is a LCSWA and just started in July with us, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. And tell us just a little bit what is important to know about you, Duncan, for people that are kind of interested in coming to see you as a therapist.
Sure. I am a therapist that kind of comes from a bit of a weird background. I started in uh, actually wilderness therapy and
Yeah,
working with young people in a wilderness setting. And
yeah,
so, kind of taking new approaches to therapy is something that's really important to me.
hmm
I care a lot about the queer community and sort of advocacy in the queer community.
yeah.
And so that's something that I just want to bring into the therapy that I do.
That's awesome. Tell a little bit about wilderness therapy. I don't think many people know about wilderness therapy. What is it? And what are the components of wilderness therapy that happen there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working basically with an organization where young people who were having struggles at home or with their family
Hmm.
at school would really just kind of take some time away from that, kind of get out and
Yeah,
hike for up to a couple of months
yeah,
in like the up in the Appalachians. And so I would be up there sort of hiking with the young folks and facilitating therapy while they were doing that. And so it really helped build a lot of confidence for people who,
hmm
didn't feel like they were getting anywhere in their, regular home lives that were just sort of falling into a lot of the same patterns, break a lot
yeah.
of those patterns and come at it from really different angles.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is therapy out in nature is one of my favorite things when you can accomplish it like that because it really does change the dynamic. That's awesome.
It does.
Tell me a little bit about kind of how you decided you wanted to be a therapist. What led you in that direction?
Absolutely. So it's a bit of a weird story because I went to undergrad and actually got a degree in environmental science. So totally just the other
The
end of the
opposite end
spectrum
of the
on
spectrum.
everything.
Yeah,
Um, but kind of when I got into that field, I realized that it wasn't for me. I didn't want to kind of
mm,
just like sit at a cubicle and do paperwork. It just wasn't really working. So I actually kind of from there found my way to wilderness therapy as kind of that midway point between like the environmental stuff that I was doing in
yeah,
undergrad. And through doing that, I realized that what I loved about wilderness therapy wasn't the environment that I was in as much as it
yeah,
was the helping people and seeing
yeah.
people, grow and, being a part of that kind of transformation process.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you found the what the meaning was for you in what you were doing and kind of went in that direction. That's what
Yeah,
it sounds like.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sort of stumbled
Um,
into it.
yeah, as you kind of leading yourself going in that direction toward being a therapist, coming from an environmental science background, what were the things that you started to learn about therapy that maybe were different than what you expected, or maybe that you learned like your ideas about what therapy was were myths, right, or things that weren't true? What are those things that you kind of learned as you moved in that direction?
Yeah, so like I distinctly remember at one point that therapy was like, just like regular medical going to the doctor where like you have a
Yeah,
problem and you go in and they figure out what the problem
they,
is and fix it and you
yeah, and
go home.
the doctor
Um,
fixes you. Yeah,
right. But what I love about therapy that's different from that is that it's so relational. It's really just built in the trust and like the conversations that you have. And like there are tools that you can use to kind of help with individual pieces of whatever's going on, but it's not just kind of like problem solution. It's much
yeah.
more fluid than that.
Yeah, it's developmental, right? Like
Right.
it's the cliche is the journey, not the destination, which
Exactly. Yeah. And it's
it's
all
hard
about
sometimes
like
for people to
growth as a person, which
yeah,
isn't just like step to step to step. It's linear and it
yeah,
goes up and down and it's
yeah.
dynamic.
It's not
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as precision as going in and having surgery where you're having something removed, right? Like, or like something like that.
Exactly.
It's much more about the growth and the development there. Yeah. So was the environmental, I mean, this is kind of a different direction, but was the environmental science thing what you wanted to be when you grew up, or is the therapist what you wanted to be? Like, what were the things that you really wanted to be when you were growing up?
So weirdly, I mean, I think this is the way it is for everybody, right? Where it like vastly changes based on how old you are. Like
Yeah.
little kid Duncan, like really young, absolutely wanted to be a paleontologist and dig up dinosaurs. And then he got to like middle school and realized that doing that would require a lot of math and writing things down. And so that one sort of fell by the wayside. Uh,
Hmm.
but I found out that I really wanted to like work outside and I wanted to be active. And that's kind of where the environmental
Yeah.
science thing came from, um, which is sort of, and that's very much where I wanted to go kind of from that
Yeah.
point. But then as I worked through that, realizing that what I thought was just like being outside and being active was I wanted to make a difference and help folks. And I
Yeah.
wanted to, be actively doing that and, talking my way through my day instead of writing my way through my day. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So I wanted to be a whole bunch of different things when I was like young, but
Yeah.
each one sort of
Like a lot of people
flowed
do.
into the next one as I figured out like what are the parts of that that I
Yeah.
actually liked and actually wanted to do. And it's
Yeah.
kind of where we landed.
Well, that's really cool that you're able to kind of hang on to some of those pieces as you kind of brought them into to what you're doing now. Yeah, that's really awesome. What do you believe is, and again, kind of as you've been learning about therapy and you know in school and then actually doing therapy and working with folks, is like what are the things that you believe that therapy really helps, right? Like what are the things that you think therapy gives to people that makes it so important?
Yeah. So really kind of like I hate to use the word, but kind of the magic of therapy, like where the
Yeah,
actual like good stuff happens is in having a like really good healthy relationship with somebody, because like every relationship that we have in our
yeah,
lives is like variations of kind of up and down and
yeah,
they have nuance and stuff, but like a relationship with a therapist is healthy by definition. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
having that really healthy relationship where you can talk about whatever you need to talk about and just sort of get it off your chest, um, and have that person like know a lot about how to keep those conversations healthy and productive and moving
Mm.
forward. um, it's really just kind of that relationship that does so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the research says, right? So what
Yeah.
actually changes in therapy is the relationship that you have with your therapist. And I agree with you a lot that that relationship for a lot of people is the healthiest relationship that they have, right?
Yeah.
And it should be that way, right? Because it's a model for how we want things to be in
Absolutely
our
agree.
lives for sure. So what do you feel like therapy looks like for you? Like what is or with you when you're the therapist, like if
Yeah.
I'm coming in to see you, like what's therapy going to look like, do you think?
I mean, just that, I want to, before anything else, just sort of get to know you as a person. I want
Mm,
to, um, like, be able to sort of bridge that gap a little bit and make the relationship such that we feel free talking to each other. Um,
yeah.
you know what I kind of I think it's easier to say what I don't want. And what I don't want is for it to be kind of what I was imagining therapy was originally, where it's like somebody
Yeah.
comes in, they say they have a problem, I tell them the solution to the problem, and
Yeah.
they go home. Like that's
Yeah.
not. So I don't want that. I would much rather have just kind of that conversational, relational bit, and then over time that relationship builds into happier lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like I like that part of it. It seems to me like that you're allowing the trust to build in the relationship, right?
Very
Because
much.
that provides a really good foundation for that going forward. All right, last question. Favorite movie of all time? What is it?
Oh, okay. Wasn't prepared for this one. Great.
I like throwing
So
curveball. I like throwing curveballs
yeah,
at
I
you.
love it. No, it's good. So the very first one off the top of my head is the Oh Brother Or Art Thou, Coen Brothers.
Okay.
Like
All right.
it's
It's a good one.
it's well written. It's got John Goodman in it, which is always a plus. He just shows up in random movies, and I love it. Quotable, and it's based in Greek mythology, which I just think is a really
Yeah.
interesting writing.
Yeah. So you like a little bit of it, intellectual stuff
Yeah,
in your movies
it's
as
fun. I
well.
like to be
You
able
want
to
a
pick it
thinker.
apart.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for kind of talking through some of those things, Duncan.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. If you want to schedule a appointment with Duncan, if he sounds like a good fit, you can call our office at 919-587-8018, or you can request an appointment online with Duncan at mathewscounseling.net, where you can also read more about him and his bio, and see another video where he talks more about what therapy is like for him. All right. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.